first slide. So first of all, obviously people have been posting in the chat. Please use that chat feature for any questions that you have. Again, we are going to share a lot of information, so you might find that you want to wait a couple slides to see what some of the information might be before posting your question, or if you have that burning question right now that you want to get out of your brain, go ahead and put it in the chat.
We have a question about Slack right away. There's some parents that might not know about Slack.
Oh, great. Okay, so Slack is an amazing site, which I found out about this year through the PIT crew. And so I will send some information out again via email about Slack. But that is what the PIT crew is using for all communications this year. And if any of the PIT crew has anything to add, feel free to put it in the chat and I will share that for everybody. But I will definitely share the information again. Okay, so first of all, thank you. I cannot thank everyone enough for your patience, your flexibility, your understanding and your trust. I know we made a last minute adjustment with our schedule this week, and we ran into some technology issues that we were not expecting. Our teachers are working around the clock. They are working so hard this year. And so we just really needed that day so that we could make sure that we were putting our best foot forward for students on Tuesday. And so I appreciate your adjustment with that. I did find out that some students did not receive my emails. So we are looking into that. So I apologize if that was you. But we will make sure from here on out that you do receive those emails. I think it's an issue with PowerSchool, so we're looking into that. Thank you, though. I honestly, I know that last minute changes are not ideal, but it's really what we needed in order to be the best that we could be this week for students. And so I just appreciate everybody's flexibility with that. Moving into our return dates. So we are so excited to welcome everyone in A group back into the building on Thursday, which is the 28th, and on Friday, the 29th for B group. And so I think at this point, everybody just needs to take a deep breath because we're all in the same boat. We're in this together and we will make it happen. There are certain things that are really important to our success in coming back. And so that's what we're going to go through this evening. So one thing to note, this is our return to learn bell schedule from this point forward. And so as I mentioned, on Thursday, we are welcoming A group back for in-person instruction at OEC for 2nd, 4th, and 6th hour. And then Friday is going to be B group for 2nd, 4th, and 6th hour. Many of you noticed the last time we hosted the webinar when Miss Newman was on it as well with me when I was introduced, is that the schedule has changed a bit for this semester. And there really are some great reasons for doing so. I know that this schedule, everybody had a lot of input and it was really well thought out. There were hours upon hours of time that went into developing this schedule. And I was not obviously in this position yet. And so I wasn't privy to all of that work at the time, but I have learned a great deal about why this schedule came to be what it is. And so a few things to note about the schedule. One thing is, if you notice, it cuts down our passing time. So blocking the classes together in a block schedule format decreases those passing times from 5 times to 3 times. And so that is a reduction in the amount of times that our students will be traveling and mixing in the hallways. 2, it allows for more consistency for staff and students. The studies are really showing right now that students benefit from a schedule that's spread out throughout the week rather than grouped together in the hybrid format, so that they are in a routine of going to class, doing some asynchronous work, and then going to in-person class again. And so that is one of the reasons why the schedule was changed as well. It's going to allow for a deeper dive in content in the block schedule format. And so that is something that I'm sure staff and students are looking forward to. And overall, we're really looking to mitigate risk and to keep people safe. And so this schedule is allowing for that reduced contact. It's allowing for easier hand washing breaks. And so it's really beneficial in terms of keeping our students and staff safe within the building. So after this week, we do return for full weeks. And so Monday, again, we'll welcome A group back. Tuesday, B group. Wednesday is remaining asynchronous. So students would receive Google Forms for attendance that they would need to complete on Wednesdays. And then Thursday, A group again, and Friday, B group. One of the questions that I receive from students is, what do we do on our days when we're not in person? So if I'm a student in A group and I attend class in person on Monday, what am I doing on Tuesday? The idea is that when you're in class on Monday, you'll be receiving asynchronous work to complete on Tuesday. So you would be working on that. You would be working on any college work you might have, but things may not be posted for each class on Tuesday. So that is just something to know. 13th seminar students, you are split again by your Monday and Thursday groupings. And then Friday, because you are all together, it will remain on Zoom because we can't accommodate that many students in the building at one time. So that is just a friendly reminder to everybody in 13th seminar for Friday. I did want to talk about lunch for a minute in this schedule. So we do have a half hour built in for lunch. We do have a lunch schedule broken down. It's going to be much like it was in the fall, where there's a board when you come into the building. It will have a magnet with your name on it. It will have the rooms listed, which rooms you can attend and what the maximum capacity is for each room. Students will take their magnet with their name on it, and they will move their magnet to the room that they're going to have lunch in. Just like all our classrooms are set up, obviously they're set up for lunch as well. Our students are 6 feet apart in their desks. And so students will space out that way. And then hopefully, we're looking at maybe a couple more months before the weather starts breaking and students can go outside. Students, I know some of them, I was told, ate lunch in their car. Last semester, we are fine with students choosing to do that, but what we ask is that students don't group together in their cars, and that only students from the same household would eat together in their car. Okay. Just a heads up on potential future schedule adjustments. Obviously, we want to make sure that we are doing what's best for students and staff. We do have midwinter break coming up. Right now, midwinter break on the calendar is listed as a Friday and a Monday. We'll be reviewing that as a staff to make sure that those are the 2 days that make the most sense. And if so, what might happen is we might bring groups together on a Zoom for a day rather than in-person instruction. And so I just wanted to make everybody aware of that. But right now our break is scheduled for Friday the 12th and Monday, February 15th, which is right around the corner. So a couple weeks after we come back into the building. Okay, so I know that this is a hot topic anywhere you go, sanitation procedures. So we have a very well put together sanitation schedule. Desks will be sanitized after each class. A huge thank you to all members of the OEC staff for doing so. So they are helping, as well as myself, to sanitize those desks after each class and make sure that each student's desk is clean for the next person that would come in. We do have a dedicated custodian at OEC. His name is Thomas. Thomas will do a wonderful job in terms of making sure classrooms are set up, that desks are set up 6 feet apart, that desks are getting sanitized. He'll help with that. He will also help with sanitizing each classroom at the end of the day. So that was a question that I received in a parent meeting recently, was what happens at the end of the day because a group comes in Monday and a different group of students comes in Tuesday. All of those rooms will be sanitized at the end of the day so that we make sure, again, that we're mitigating that risk for the next group of students that would come in. And lastly, periodic sanitizing of floors, additional surface areas will all be happening as well as it was in the fall. Another wonderful topic, hand washing, hallways, and ventilation. First, staggered hand washing breaks. We will have those again built into each class period. So there will be a dedicated break in each class. We do have the hand washing sinks in the hallways still as well for students. So those are there. Hand sanitizer will be provided in all of the hallways, classrooms for students. I'm sure by now most of us all keep a little bottle on us. So I'm sure most people do bring their own as well, but it will be provided for everybody as well. We are continuing the same one-way hallway procedures from the fall. I do know that it is a little chilly outside. I looked, and next week it looks like one of our lows is going to be 8 degrees. I think the high is 21 or 24. So dress warmly. I was laughing because with Miss Newman, we were talking, and we were talking about how normally you have to walk across campus, and now you have this nice short walk. And so just make sure that you're dressing warmly. Bring some mittens, bring a hat, because you may need it. You also may need it in the building. We are working on the temperature, but we did adjust the dampers. Now, I am not an HVAC person. And so when I was first going through this meeting with people at OCC and the district, some of it went over my head, but we are adjusting the dampers to bring in more outside air. So that we have better circulation and outside airflow. And so in doing that, it may slightly change the temperature in some of the classrooms. We're going to be working on that. So if we come in Thursday and we find that it's cold in the classrooms, we will definitely be making adjustments to that. But please dress in layers, bring a jacket just to be safe as we work through those adjustments. And then finally, floor fans are key, is what I've been told. So we will be using floor fans in the classrooms to circulate the air. So that is just another step that we are taking to ensure the safety of all students. And one friendly reminder, I come from a family of nurses, and they always remind me about properly washing hands, because hand washing is out there right now and it's a big thing. But some of us forget that we have to scrub for at least 20 minutes in order for it to be effective. 20 seconds, not 20 minutes. You'd be in the bathroom for a long time. 20 seconds. And so scrub for 20 seconds. There's a lot of songs you can sing for 20 seconds as you're doing it, so that you make sure your hands are nice and clean and we are not spreading germs to one another. A few different things to remember: washing hands. Masks are required for all students and staff. So please make sure that you bring your mask. We do have extra for students that forget them, but please make sure that you do have one with you. And again, we're properly wearing masks. So it needs to go over the nose and the mouth, not under the nose, not on the chin, not hanging from the ear. So please make sure that you have one of those. When you're in the hallways, we really need to make sure that students are maintaining social distancing. I know it's not always easy to be or to gauge an exact 6 feet apart, but we have to be sure that we're creating some space between one another to keep each other safe. Okay, so we love you. We love all of you, but if you are feeling sick, if you have a fever, chills, nausea, any of the COVID symptoms, please stay home. If you're home and your family member is sick and they're really not feeling well and you're not so sure, please stay home. We will also stay home if we are feeling sick as a staff, or if a family member in our house is sick, so that we can keep each other safe. Please do that for us. We will do that for you. And we really appreciate everybody working to keep each other safe in the building. All right, I have a couple more and then we'll bring in some other voices here. So I've been receiving some questions on Canvas. Canvas is the hub for all coursework for each class. I have heard that there were some small issues in the transition to second semester. I think most of them have been worked out at this point. However, if you're still having issues with Canvas, feel free to email me and I'll be more than happy to look into them. Power School is the grade book. So when we're looking for an accurate grade update, we should be looking in Power School, not Canvas. So please make sure that you are looking at Power School for the grades. We do have something called Passback where Canvas, you can input the grades and it will sync to Power School. I know some teachers are using that. And so that is something to be mindful of. If you need Canvas support, you can click, we can't click on the link, but I will send the link out. That is the link. You could also take a picture of it. If you need Canvas help, there's different videos. There are directions on that site of how to be an observer if you're a parent or guardian so that you can see what your student sees in Canvas as well. So all of that is available on that site. Okay, and I am going to turn it over now so we can take a look at some amazing things that have happened thus far this year. So I think Mrs. Bellairs and Mrs. Madalena are going to take it away.
Yes.
All right.
Go ahead, Ms. Madalena.
Well, how about we alternate? That would be a good way. So if you want to take the first item.
All right. So looking back on what we were able to do when we were in person, which was really only a short amount of time. So we got a lot done in a very short amount of time. And so the first thing we did was to kick off the 2020 Olympics, which they just start off the new year. So there's some different new school year, I should say. So some different activities that focus classes did, some competitions that they had, and some medals were awarded. So that was a really great time.
All right, and shortly after that, we held our outdoor NHS inductions that were postponed from last spring, and we welcomed 21 new members into our Oakland Early College National Honor Society. For those of you that are curious about NHS, you must be in your third year of high school, so a junior, before you can be invited. And we send out our invitations in the early early months of the new semester. So somewhere in February, once we get all of the grades turned in, because there is a grade point average minimum to be invited to NHS. So looking toward the middle of February to the end of February, where invitations will go out to all students that qualify. That would include anybody who's in their third year, second semester, and anybody who is in their fourth year who qualifies and has not participated or chosen to join at this point. So that's an upcoming event for our NHS members.
So we also had our 5th annual 5K walk for charity. Usually that's a collaboration between us and OCC, but because of some limitations, we still did it. It looked differently, just like everything else this year. So you can see the picture right there is from this year's 5K. That's the 13th graders when we went out, which was actually a really beautiful trail back in like the woods. It was right at fall, as you can see. So the trees looked amazing. So I really enjoyed it. It was my first time walking it. So that was awesome. And what was really amazing is that even under these like difficult situations where it's just our little school raising donations, we were able to collect over 7,000 items that we donated to 6 partner charities. So I just was so impressed with our students and our families that really came together to put together all of these donations for people who really needed that support. So great job doing that.
And just to tag onto that, all of those donations have made it to their partner charities, and we worked around all of the closures and limitations. So it was quite the adventure, and I really appreciate all those students that helped sort and count every single item and bag them up safely. Our Stugo near the Halloween time created an outdoor pumpkin patch for all the students to go pick a pumpkin, and had some lunchtime events that were fun and socially distanced and safe. And that leads us to Mrs. Billers. I'll just jump into this last one. Our Holiday Angels project that we conducted in this year, it was slightly different in that we put out a Sign Up Genius and people sponsored gifts. And we did a collection, a drop-off collection. And when we tallied it all up, there was over $2,500 worth of donated gifts and gift cards. It was amazing. There are some definite student standouts who went above and beyond and recruited donations from other people, family members, friends, and really knocked it out of the park for them this year. That's more than double what we normally are able to give them. So even though we are not together in person, we definitely have been able to continue some of our annual events and contribute back to our community, which is one of our number one priorities, is to always focus on our community. So
And then,
I'll turn it
yeah,
back
really
to you or
quick, I
Mrs.
know
Bellairs.
there's a focus group that didn't get their pumpkins, and so those have been anxiously awaiting you to return back to school. We've held on to those. I'm going to go through because there was like some food items and make sure that they didn't expire. If they did, we'll replace those. Most of those had a pretty far forward expiration date. So if you didn't get your pumpkin, don't worry. We have them for you and you'll get them when you return to school.
Ms. Catalina, before we move on, can you just touch base on the NHS requirements? There's a whole bunch of questions in the chat.
I saw that question pop up. So just so that you are aware, for those of you that do qualify by age for an invitation to National Honor Society, you must maintain a 3.4 cumulative GPA at OEC and a minimum 3.0 at OCC. So remember, your grades from OCC are included on your transcript at OEC. So 3.4 cumulative grade point average combined and 3.0 minimum at OCC. If you meet those requirements and the age requirement, you will receive an invitation, at which point that allows you to request an application. And once you fill it in, your remaining faculty serve as the faculty board for NHS and will review those applications. Next.
So community time is looking really different this year than it has in the past years, but we're trying to keep as much of the same sort of themes going as possible. So some things that are coming up, about student government is hosting a Valentine's Day activity that will take place in your focus class starting February 5th through the 11th, because trying to make sure we hit every class. Accounting for that midwinter break, we had to start Valentine's Day a little bit early, but we'll be putting together Valentine's Day cards for people in nursing homes. So we'll have all the supplies that you need to make some cute cards, because most nursing homes have been totally closed for visitors. And so, we really want to make sure that the people who are in those nursing homes feel the love, especially on Valentine's Day.
And the National Honor Society will be hosting the Step Up Challenge in February as well. And we have another slide on that, so we'll come back to that in a minute. We'll bounce back to Mrs. Bellairs.
So then we are currently planning some other activities for like a winter festival, end of February, early March, again, looking like it would happen in your focus group. Some things just to get us through the winter, because I know like March for me is always the longest month because we don't have a break. It feels really long. So if we can do some fun things to kick it off, I'm excited for that. And then, depending on what restrictions are happening in the state and in the county, we'll have some more activities throughout the year. We're always looking for creative ideas as well. So if you have any creative ideas, we welcome those. And we're trying to continue to build the community throughout this time.
So for the past few years, the National Honor Society has been hosting the Step Up Challenge in the month of February, because February is American Heart Month. Our Step Up Challenge encourages students and adult participants to track their steps for a week. So we will also, if you notice, we have a theme of everything seems to be happening through our Focus or 13 seminar classes, and that is because we do need to keep our students in small groups, and we can't put everybody together. So we are using those classes as our hub for all of our distribution of information and recruitment for participation. So we will be announcing this over the next week and sharing information in the focus classes. Each student in their Focus or 13 SEM class will have an opportunity to sign up and register for our event. All that means is that their name is on the list, and they will be tracking their average number of, or their number of steps for every day. Any student that averages 3,500 steps per day for the 7 days, the National Honor Society will donate on their behalf $1 to the American Heart Association. The top 3 participants who step them or calculate the most steps or have taken the most steps will win prizes. And we also are going to award the top Focus or 13 seminar class that have the greatest number of participants and steps with prizes as well. Additional donations are also going to be accepted that will go directly to the American Heart Association if you choose to. You may bring in cash donations if you are interested, but you also may work those through our e-funds through the school if you choose to. Just know that when you do that, there is a slight charge for a credit card, but we can accept donations that way if you are interested. I will work that out with Ms. Kelly, and more information will follow once it's announced in the focus classes. How we expect students to track their steps. Obviously, we're using an honor system, but you can use a smartphone, you can use a smartwatch, a Fitbit, or a pedometer. And we will have some, very inexpensive pedometers to loan out to students who don't have a way to track their steps, but there are apps that you can download for free. So we will be introducing that and kicking that off February 5th through 12th. And then at the end of the week, the students will just end up completing a Google form with their total number of steps to finish off the competition. So if anybody has any questions, you can type them in the chat, but more information will come in focus and 13 seminar classes. So we're looking to get our students up and out of those chairs from behind the screens and stepping around as much as possible. Mr. Toy has his hand up, so.
Yeah, there's one more question about NHS, and while we have you here at the microphone, Mrs. Madalena, someone was wondering in the chat about volunteer opportunities. Obviously, it's a little difficult this year for students to find their volunteer opportunities. Somebody was wondering if tutoring younger students in the neighborhood would be an opportunity for volunteer hours.
We have all sorts of opportunities to actually earn those hours and lots of lists and ideas. So that is fair game. The only limitations we really have are volunteering within your own household is a questionable piece, because quite frankly, I would expect students to help in their own family without earning service hours. So if you are helping outside of your home, then those hours definitely qualify. And
That's great. Thank you.
Mrs. Krauser.
So for the clubs this year, they also, I'm sure you're shocked, look slightly different than they have in the past. You sense a theme? So for clubs this year, we kind of have it set up with two big umbrellas. One umbrella with the title of DMA, and that's kind of chaired by Mr. Snyder. And then there's another umbrella, MIA, and that one is chaired by myself. With a co-chair of Mr. Toy. And then all of our individual clubs that you're familiar with from years past kind of branch off from those big umbrellas. So there's lots of opportunities to get involved this year. Every first week of the month on Tuesdays, there will be a MIA meeting with me. And then my executive board, and then subsequent Tuesdays will be meetings for individual different subcommittee groups, which would be the clubs that you're familiar with in the past. And then every first Friday of the month will be the umbrella meeting for DMA, and then subsequent Fridays for the subcommittees, which are posted there on the slide with Mr. Snyder. There's also still student government. You can see the date and time posted on there. You guys have been meeting and doing great things as always with all of our students, meeting the new awesome challenges you've been faced during these super turbulent and grit creating times. And then yearbook that I'm sure you're all super interested to hear about is happening. Yay! I can see everybody shaking their hands and clapping. Mr. Toy has so graciously decided to take on that animal, and I'm going to let him tell you what that looks like this year.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Krauser. We do have a number of 13 graders. I'm not from OEC. I got to get this right. Grade 13ers? No, that's not right either. I do have a number of students in their final year at our school who are leading this effort, and I appreciate those students. We have been meeting on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Over Zoom. So if anybody is interested in coming to our yearbook meeting, we could use more help. I'll quickly put my email address in the chat there. So every Wednesday at 11 a.m., we've been hosting a online meeting. We're building the yearbook online. we're using a new service called Tree Ring. That's one word, Tree Ring. And treering.com is helping us this year to do a digital yearbook. Tree Ring is a different service than what we've done in the past. Very soon, you'll be getting information about how you can order a yearbook from Tree Ring. Right now, we have a soft cover available for about $20. And if you'd like to upgrade to a hard cover, it's a $26 yearbook. So the prices are a little bit lower, I think, than they have been in the past. Also, Tree Ring will allow each student to customize a 2-page spread. So because you're doing school at home, because we've been doing a lot of class work while you are stuck at home, you will be free to create your own personalized 2-page spread in the yearbook. So we'll be talking more about that probably in our focus classes so that you can have an opportunity to personalize your yearbook. So the yearbook's going to look a little bit different this year because the school year has looked different, but we are working to put something together, and we hope that it's on campus by the time students graduate. So we're trying to get it done and in your hands before students walk across that stage to get their diploma. So again, if you want to come to our meetings, they're Wednesdays at 11 a.m. and stay tuned to the website or to your focus class or for a future email so that you can go on Tree Ring, order your yearbook, and get the directions about how to make your 2-page spread, which is your own custom work you can add into the book.
I do see a question in the chat about DMA and MIA and what those acronyms stand for. D stands for Digital Media Arts Group. I'm not sure no qualifier is behind that one. And MIA is the Multicultural and Inclusion Association. So kind of think about those clubs that you were in last year and think where would those clubs kind of fall under, and that would be the sponsor that you would want to reach out to and the club meeting, the umbrella club meeting that you would want to attend so that you can get further information and get subcommittee group time.
And additionally, I think there might have been originally another A on that DMA, so Digital Media Arts Association. I'm feeling like there might have been something that we're missing on that, but we will get Mr. Snyder to clarify how that came out. Additionally, National Honor Society has a meeting Friday, February 5th as well, and I'm noticing on the calendar right now that DMA and NHS have an overlap, so we will definitely fix that. We'll either shuffle one forward or move one and announce it to the students so that we do not have that conflict. Next slide, please.
If I could just jump in there, I see a question about Pride Club. Pride Club will be happening. It'll probably be a lunchtime meeting. So Pride Club is something we haven't done on Zoom, but we are organized, and I will be leading a group of students on Pride. So stay tuned because we're going to try to do some lunchtime gatherings for that this year.
And I believe, Mrs. Krauser, you just did you also include that Pride Club as part of the umbrella for?
Yes, it's part of the umbrella for the MIA club. So definitely come to our umbrella meeting on February 2nd, because that will be part of our discussion that we have with the exec board and what those subcommittees look like. Pride definitely being one of them.
All right, to call some recognition to some of our students, we had a small group of students that participated virtually through the regional competition and conference for HOSA back in December, and I'm proud to announce that we have five of the members that placed in the top 10 in their respective events, and they are all advancing to the state conference, which will also be held virtually on April 23rd, 2021. So Ada Doyen took first place in her event. Sarah took third place in that same event. Miriam took second place in her event. Cedra was placed in the top 10, and Aman placed in the top 10, and that qualifies them to participate in the virtual state conference in April. So congratulations to those students. Applause, silent applause, but good job. Good job, team. And Mrs. Krauser, I'm not sure if you wanted to answer that question that just popped up in the chat.
I can answer that. The clubs for new students, all new students are totally encouraged to come to the umbrella meetings that first week of February. During those meetings, that's when all of the different subcommittees or individual clubs, as we're used to in a traditional high school, that's when all of them will be established. There's different criteria that they need to meet in order for that subcommittee to be formed. And all that information will be covered during the umbrella meetings by either me or Mr. Snyder, depending on the umbrella meeting that is attended. And then it looks like Mr. Toy has answered about Pride Club. He is welcoming allies and friends of Pride to attend those meetings. So watch for further information on meeting dates and times that I assume there'll be a Zoom and in-person option for.
And in student government, you can still always attend student government meetings and participate in that. So, feel free to join in on any of those meetings. We, again, are just like looking for creative ideas to try to do as much of the similar activities as we used to. So if that's something that's of interest to you and you're a new student or older student, feel free to join in on that.
And just to follow up on that, you will need to contact Mrs. Bellairs for the Zoom link for the student government meetings, because we don't blast it to everybody anymore. We just mainly send it to the students that have been attending. So if you are interested, you do need to contact Mrs. Bellairs in advance for the Zoom link.
Yes, thank you.
Mrs. Larkin, did you want me to keep going with the 13th grade activities, or do you want to jump in?
Sure, if you want to go with it, that works.
Okay, so our 13th grade students, Mrs. Kelly and I have been working diligently over the past couple of years to orchestrate senior photo opportunities. So this is different than regular school pictures where you get your picture ID. That also will be happening, and maybe Mrs. Kelly might want to jump in and talk about those dates for general pictures. I'm not sure if that's in our slideshow today, but could be mentioned. But we were able, Miss Kelly was able to reschedule our senior picture photo shoot for Monday, February 1st and Thursday, February 4th. That will happen on top of the in-person 13th seminar class. The students will be individually set for their photo shoot. They will have approximately 6 to 8 photos taken. The company will mail those students a packet of proofs. You have the option to order pictures. You do not have to order pictures. But what students and the school get out of this is that company is able to create a class composite for us. So at the end of the year, every student will receive an 11x14 copy of the class composite that will look all professional and nice, and every individual student will be in it with their names. The backgrounds will be all the same. So that gives us an opportunity to present a very professional class composite. Those pictures also will be shared with yearbook. So the yearbook can include those same photos for everyone. If students have had private senior photos taken, there will be information coming from Mr. Toy about substituting in those private photos with school approval. And just a quick reminder that Mr. Toy is the editor-in-chief of that yearbook and reserves all rights to approve or not approve whatever is sent in. Just want to make sure that everybody is 100% clear on that. But the composite photo cannot be substituted in. So the class composite photo is through one particular company, and it's their pictures that they take and make this composite. So that is coming up quickly next week. So our 13th graders have received more information on that for any parents attending. Please remind your student that they do need to try to dress nicely and professionally for this. So the students in other grades, I think Miss Kelly might share some dates, or Miss Larkin will share some dates in a minute about general student pictures for the rest of the population where ID cards would be issued. Another tag and note on that, Mrs. Larkin, Mrs. Bellairs, and I are planning and organizing information so that there will be a separate Zoom meeting for our 13th grade students and parents. The date for that is going to be announced. We do need some time to get all of our information together, so it'll be succinct and efficient for you, with information about requirements for graduation and information about graduation as well. So that will be to be determined in terms of the date, but upcoming. So does anybody want to talk about regular school pictures?
Thank you. First of all, a lot of good stuff happening at OEC. Regular school pictures, I'm going to have to defer to Mrs. Kelly. I've got a lot of dates swirling in my brain right now, and I know I have them somewhere. So Mrs. Kelly, can you let us know what those dates are?
Those dates for the underclassmen for their pictures will be on February 18th, which is on a Thursday, and February 22nd, which is on a Monday.
Perfect. I will make sure that those dates get emailed out so that everybody has those on their calendar, and we'll be good to go. I know we're getting to that point, I think, because I think this was the last slide, where if we have any questions that we haven't answered yet, we can do that now. So Mr. Toyer, Ms. Krauser.
I do have a few I've been holding in the chat. If you don't mind me just going through them one at a time, Mrs. Larkin.
Yes,
Okay,
yep.
First question, some students are curious to know about a full return. Do you think there will be a full return to a 5-day week anytime this year?
I will be honest with you, I don't foresee it. We set up the hybrid model, and I know that students also scheduled college classes sort of around that model as well. And so as far as I know right now, the district's intent is to remain in the hybrid model until the end of this school year.
Okay, thank you. There was a question in the chat about Spanish 2. I wondered if you could share any information about Spanish tonight.
Yes, we are continuing Spanish through Edgenuity. So it is an online platform that we've been utilizing. Mrs. Rosenthal, who many of you are probably familiar with from OEC, is continuing to be the teacher that oversees that class. So she did email all parents and students that are enrolled in Spanish, just different notes and pieces of information, as well as a link to her Zoom on Wednesdays.
Okay, thank you. There's another question in the chat about midwinter break decision. There were some parents who were curious about making appointments, and they're wondering if those dates might change. I think people are worried about making doctor's appointments or other appointments. So if midwinter break has to be changed, when or how might parents be informed?
I think sorry, let me clarify one thing on that. I don't know that the dates will necessarily change, but whether we're in person with that group or on Zoom the day before or the day after, so we can bring the groups together, is what might change in the schedule. So that's what we'll be working out as a staff, and we'll be sure to get that out, I would say by the end of this week at the latest.
So Friday, February 12th and Monday, February 15th are the 2 days we will
Are
be
the
off.
breaks. Yes.
Okay,
Yep. And then
thank
we just have to determine, is that Thursday before going to be a Zoom for both groups, so we don't miss out on a group? And so that's something that we need to talk about.
Okay, thank you. I think that will help the parents who are wondering. Somebody asked a question about cleaning supplies, and I saw Mrs. Krauser said, yeah, we would be glad to take something if you'd like to share it with us to keep our building safe. Thank you. There was a question about Bible Club, and I think that Bible Club might be underneath the umbrella of MIA. I'm not sure. Some of these clubs might not run exactly as they did before, which is why we've made these umbrella groups. So I don't know if anyone wants to address that, what we were thinking there with the clubs, but I think the idea was that by making some umbrella groups, we'd have a bigger group of students, and we might not have the opportunity to have quite as many individual clubs as we've had before. So if Bible Club is something you're interested in, you should go to the MIA umbrella meeting and bring that up and see if there's some other students who might be interested also in branching off.
And just to tag on to Mr. Toy, and so that you know our thought process, the reality is we had almost 18 clubs running last year and the year before, and we literally had 6 teachers, and Mrs. Blair's is our counselor hosting those clubs. And so it is a lot for us to manage. And when we had the departure of Mrs. Rosenthal, that took us down to 5 teachers and Mrs. Belair's, and that is just a lot for us to have on our plate. So we determined that if we grouped some of them together, we would be able to integrate more students, get larger clubs to form instead of 3 here, 6 there, and trying to man all of that, and allow for us to actually still provide supervision and advisors for all of those clubs and groups, but under larger overall associations, so that it is not so challenging for the few number of teachers to be able to support the large number of student initiatives and groups. So I think that we have come upon a plan that will help us do that, and we continue to encourage the students and want their support as much as we provide for them. So it's a mutual win-win.
Okay, thank you. There's another question. If picture days are Thursday, February 18th and Monday, February 22nd, there's a concern that those dates might not include B group students.
Okay, that these dates were made when we had another schedule. So I will get back to you, and it'll probably be that Friday instead of Thursday.
Okay, thank
But-
you very much.
Ms. Larkin will get back to everybody and let them know.
Yes, we will adjust. The year of 2020/2021 is adjusting. So everyone will get their picture, I promise.
Thank you for pointing out the parents who are way ahead of us on that one. Thank you for that. That's very helpful for our planning. It's good to know that problem now. So thank you for sharing that information.
Anything
think that-
else?
I think
It's a
that about
question
does
in
it.
the chat about that just popped up actually. Their question about the hybrid schedule that we have and if that schedule is going to stay in place for the remainder of the school year through June, or if we're anticipating another shift in the scheduling.
At this point, I don't believe that we'll see another shift. We, as a district, have committed to the hybrid model through the end of the school year. If things were to suddenly, drastically turn around for the better, we may see the board come back to the schedules and talk about that. But for now, with the data and everything that we're seeing, we are remaining in the hybrid model.
And there were a couple of questions about vaccinating and the teachers being vaccinated. That is health information for the teachers. It's not mandated, just like any other vaccine. And that's private health information. So what the teachers choose to do is make a decision just like any other adult who's making that same decision right now. And whether or not they release that information is totally up to the individual teacher. So I don't know if you want to address that any further, but there was a few different questions about whether the staff was going to be vaccinated.
And then, sorry, really quick, going back to the schedule, one thing that I just want to point out is we at OEC are in a very unique situation where our students schedule their own college courses. So we know that you guys schedule your college courses around the schedule that we put out, this current hybrid schedule. So that's like just another layer of why you would likely not see any changes to that schedule, because we have several different layers to consider with our students.
Okay, do we cover them all? Good. All right. Thank you very much. So thank you so much for your time tonight. As someone who has not, obviously coming from the high school, I have not been in a building with students since March. And so I am very, very excited. I promise that we have good procedures in place. I know OEC was fantastic in the fall at keeping students safe, making sure things were sanitized and taking care of everything that they need to mitigate that risk, to have students in person learning and building community and doing everything that OEC does so well. And so I really look forward to being a part of that. I cannot wait to meet the students in person instead of via Zoom. And so I'm excited to welcome you back on Thursday and Friday of this week. If you have any questions or concerns, please always feel free to reach out via email, or you can call or text me as well. Thank you all so much and have a great evening. And thank you to all the staff for staying on tonight and helping out.